Hey there, welcome back. Today we're gonna work on trying to get this bed shortened down a little bit. We'll start with the floor section. So we'll go ahead and get that shortened up so we can put it on the sauerkraut truck. All right, here's where we left off. This is our bare bed floor. It's still a long bed here on the truck. This is pretty much exactly the way we left it, other than some mess that the trees decided to leave for us. But what we need to do is we need to take 12 inches off the front here and 8 inches out the back here so it matches the frame that we already shortened. So we'll go ahead and get it marked out and start cutting. All right, so we'll just cut right along that chalk line then, and hopefully this will all work the way I think it will. All right, there she is. So we'll take this piece, give her a little do-si-do. Come on, bee, go away. And we'll line it up with the front here. And mark our holes so we can drill holes in the front to bolt it back together. Alright, so I just clamped the other piece over top of this and got it lined up with the other hole here. So we should be able to just go ahead and use the old holes as a guide and drill them right through. Alright, so we went ahead and got all the holes drilled. I just marked them off the other one, and then you got to drill the holes for the bed bolts too. We'll have to get a long drill bit and drill down through the cross member on the bottom. But I just marked it off of the piece that we cut off, so the front half should be done. This cross member that's still there ends up being right in the same spot that the other one was. So now we'll go ahead and do the back. The back, probably going to be a little bit more time consuming. We'll have to cut a notch out of it when we get, and then we'll have to leave just a little bit of a lip back here, so that way we can bend it over this rear cross member and make it look as close to factory as possible. But this piece we'll have to drill out the spot welds and pull off and reinstall. Alright, there we go. Alright. We need to save this rear support and weld it in the back here, because that's where the bed bolts down to the frame. So we got to keep that. So that'll be the next step. I'll probably fish this wiring out of here. I don't know. I mean, part of this goes to the taillights and stuff, so we might try and save that. It's pretty bad. Maybe might not be worth messing with. there we go. So got her all off. She's a little thin in a couple of spots, but overall solid. So we're gonna go ahead and use it. But so I'll dress those up a little bit. We'll slide it up underneath there and drill some holes. We'll get her welded back on there. Set this off to the side. Inches per centered. And just a touch. Alright, I think we're pretty good here. We're pretty centered. If I drill a couple holes, get her tacked on there, then we can worry about trying to hold this flange down. Alright, so I went ahead and clamped the piece that we cut off down, so that should give me an idea of where all the spot welds were originally. I'll probably just reproduce them in the same spots because I know it's a little rusty underneath. So there's no point in putting holes where there's no metal to weld to, but I think it'll be good enough to hold it all together. So my grandpa would say, we ain't going to no fair, so it doesn't have to be super special. It's not going to be a show truck, it's going to be a driver. So let's see how it goes. And the hole cutter, I should be able to just pop it through that outer layer without just cutting through the piece underneath. And we'll go ahead and plug weld this thing all back up. It should be at least as good as it was. We'll add a couple more for good measure. Alright, I got this all lined up, centered up, so we're gonna start welding it. Hope for the best. All right, next I'm going to bend this lip down like it was, from the factory. I might trim this back a little bit, but we'll go ahead and bend it down first. I think having a little extra there will probably help get it to fold over. So here we go. This is going to take a hot minute, but yeah, it looks okay. I mean, it's wrinkling over a little bit because it's shrinking where the ridges in the bed are, but I'm okay with that. It'll be okay. But you get the idea. I'm going to turn the camera off. I'll finish this up. All right, you can see we got all bent over on the back side here. All of our plug welds are in. It's nice and solid. So technically, at this point, the bed floor is done. It's shortened. The cross member that goes through right here, you can see I got a couple little holes there. The cross member is all rusted off underneath. So, since I'm on a deadline, I think what I'm going to do is try and cut that cross member out and then use the one that we cut off the front to reinforce it and hopefully patch those holes. Because I'm here. Why not? I mean, try and make it as good as we can. This is somewhat heavy for one guy. It's not terrible. Yeah, I don't know if you can see this real well here, but she's not very good. So I think what are we gonna do? We're just gonna flip her on our lid and work on the ground? Yeah, I think so. Did you guys see any of that? Any of it? Maybe? I don't know. Anyway, here it is, upside down on the ground. You can see this cross member. She's not in very good shape. It's all rusted out. And then these straps here, it had a home-built auxiliary fuel tank on it, but it didn't survive the pulling out of the dirt. So we're probably just going to cut those straps off. We're not going to need them anyway, but we'll go ahead and we'll see if we can't get that cross member out. If we can, we'll have to get the old one separated and put in there. Probably, if I can, I'll leave the floor on already welded to that in the areas where there's holes, and we'll just flop her in there and tack weld it from the bottom and go up top and stitch our patches in, and we'll be good to go. I have no idea how this is going to go, so I'll bring you back when I'm done. So I went ahead and chiseled off the spot welds on this because I knew the floor was in pretty tad shape anyway, but you can see how good a shape that was in. We're gonna have some weight reduction there with all the other stuff, and it's pretty well perforated right underneath where that support went. So when I got the other support, we'll put it in there. I don't really want to cut the whole thing apart because then I got to worry about making sure it's the same, and then I got to weld all the way across. That's a lot of weld. I'm not exactly sure what I'm gonna do here. I'm gonna think about it for a little bit and I'll be back. All right, we got the brace tacked in there. I ended up using a pretty good chunk of the floor that was with it. I don't know if this is going to be worth my while or not. The holes will be smaller. I got some pretty good gaps in there. I'm going to go ahead and flip it back up on the frame there and try and weld it from the top side. We'll see what happens. This probably isn't worth the effort, but oh well, we're this far now, we're committed. All right, so here's that patch all welded in. It looks a lot better than it did. Still not entirely sure that it was worth the effort. It took quite a bit of time, and it was pretty thin right in this area, so I had to kind of patch my patch a little. But it's a lot better than it was. There's no big holes. Not going to lose anything out the bottom of the bed now. So with that, the bed floor should be all done and ready to go. So the front panel, you should be able to bolt right onto that, and then we'll have to get our bedside shortened, and we should be able to start putting this thing back together.